Hello and welcome to Full-Time Live here on the Fulhamish YouTube channel. My name's Sammy, joined by Colm. Hi, Colm.
Hi, Sammy. Hi, guys.
And Lydia Campbell. How you doing?
Hi guys, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yeah. A bit of a demoralising performance, to be honest. Chelsea 2, Fulham 0. We could have seen it coming, but a thoroughly miserable one, Colm. And I don't know. I've held on hope for the last few weeks, even after the Arsenal draw the last couple of weeks. I thought, maybe there's a great escape in there. I'm in that. My towel is well and truly thrown.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. I was the same. I was holding hope. As long as there was a chance, I was holding hope. But I think after today, it kind of the last minute goal against Wolves, the last minute goal against Arsenal. I was still holding hope before today because I know throughout the season we've played better. Well, first of all, we've played better away from home, and we've played yet better against the bigger teams when there hasn't been as much kind of pressure on us. But yeah, I think after that, it was only ever going to go one way after that first goal, I think. And I wouldn't blame today. I wouldn't even blame the Arsenal, the late goal against Arsenal. Look, we had our chances throughout the season. We had those 3 games there, Villa, Leeds, and Wolves, where, and that's the difference between ourselves and Burnley and Brighton and Newcastle, I think, is when they needed to get a win against the teams that they could get a win against, they got them. And we didn't, and we never even looked like Villa for whatever it was for 11 minutes. We looked, yeah, maybe will, and then there was a capitulation. But against Leeds and Wolves, we never really looked like it. So I was holding out a bit of hope, like you were, Sammy, today. But yeah, after they got that first goal, it was all only going to go one way, really.
Lydia, the thing that upset me today, right? I hate to be this person. I sound like I don't know, I sound a bit like a passion merchant, but it's a West London, it's a derby, right? Yes, it's not the Old Firm, but it's a derby. It means something to the fans to go to Stamford Bridge and try and win today. And a few of the performances out there on the pitch were really lifeless. For me, Anguissa was really, really poor today. Bottling challenges. I think Cavallero also bottled a shot in the first half, didn't want to put his body on the line. I thought it was really insipid today. The team looked beaten, and that's quite hard to stomach as a fan. You get paid a lot of money. I don't mind you losing, but leave it out there on the pitch.
You're pretty much spot on there. I think the big thing for me was, once again, I feel like I say this every time, that how we're approaching the game seems all off. Now, I get that there's no fans there to kind of lift players and that kind of thing. But you know what? They're still professional footballers, and they still know what it's like to go against a team that your fans really hate. And as you say, want to, it's a West London derby. There is more than just 3 points in the line at the end of the day. If that wasn't the case, why would we love the game that we love? These are players who can surely appreciate what it's like to have a team who the fans really want to beat more than anyone. But I think what frustrates me so much, again, is that we actually looked like we're a mid-table side today in terms of how in terms of the lack of urgency. A team who, we're safe, we're not really going for anything European. That's how it looked like we approached the game. And I don't just mean the players here. I would say that probably for Parker too, which worries me quite a bit. There wasn't any risk. We took no risks today, and we're at a time when we need to take risks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really seeing a bit of dissent for Parker after this game, Colm. This kind of comment, I think, is becoming more and more common. Parker is a lovely guy, but out of his depth. I'm not 100% sure I agree, but the last 6 weeks of watching this Parker ball, where I know Chelsea got a half-decent defence. We could have played any team in the league today, and I don't think Fulham would have scored a goal.
Yeah, I'm kind of I've wanted Parker to stay, and I think I still do. I think, but I am starting to kind of teeter a bit now, and I'm kind of wondering. And it's just over the last couple of games, I'm just kind of. I always thought there was something building and building throughout the season. I always thought, and there's going to be that big breakthrough moment, and it just hasn't come. And I think today, what was it? Was it the 78th minute maybe when he made his first substitute? We're 2-0 down.
Yeah.
Really, we're 2-0 down after 48 minutes. Like, you need to do, and it's not working. What we were trying, we had two chances really in the first half. We had Lookman's shot, and it produced two good saves. Lookman's shot and Iena's shot from the edge of the box, and we were unlucky with the rebound as well. It just was slightly out of Bobby's reach, but apart from that, there wasn't really much happening. And then he goes and he makes the two substitutions at 78, and the first substitution he makes is bringing on Onima. And we're in, like Lydia said, we're in a dogfight where we need to win a game. We're 2-0 down, and he's bringing on Josh Onima. No offense to Josh Onima, and I know it's good to see him bringing on Carvalho as well, but that kind of, I think, goes to show you that maybe he had given up a little bit as well, that he thought it's important to get a young lad in on his Premier League debut, and ahead of Mitrovic as well, who might get you a goal. But I'm kind of starting to teeter on Parker a little bit now, and I'm not sure if he'll be there, if he'll be there next season. And I'm seeing in kind of the fan groups and stuff like that, people are definitely starting to get on his back a good bit now as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lydia, let's talk about that substitution. I really want a good future for Fabio Carvalho. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the next few weeks once we actually are down. But 25 minutes left of the game, get a goal in this game, and you think that there's a chance, and your attacking substitution is not to bring on Mitrovic, who clearly is fit because he was fit enough to bring on later, and you bring on a youngster. There's nothing against Carvalho, and he looked bright and lively when he came on, but to bring him on for Mitrovic was a statement. I don't know what kind of statement, but it was definitely a statement. I like the Sammy the dog's getting involved.
Yeah, but you know what it is? I've switched around my my setup. So I'm normally at the other side of the couch, and now Bonnie is annoyed because I'm in her seat. So she's been looking at me here ever since we started, and I'm just like, stop it. But yeah. Look, it was a really odd one, wasn't it? And having said that, I don't necessarily think it surprises me in the sense that Parker has been really odd with his substitutions for a lot this season, but this seemed to be this seemed a step beyond. And as you say, it's nothing wrong with Fabio Carvalho. Like, we all hope that he's going to be someone who has a really bright future for us, but it just reeked to me of, we'll give you some minutes. Go on and see what you can do. There was nothing here that wasn't going to win the game for us. It wasn't going to sneak as a goal. Well, it may have snuck as a goal back, but that was the best it was going to be. And as you say, to bring Mitrovic on a couple of minutes after that, it just seemed really odd. Now, I reckon Parker was asked about it in the post-match, which I haven't managed to catch yet. Be interesting to see what he says about it. But I think that, to me, it's once again a sign that there's definitely problems behind the scenes. I don't necessarily know what those might be. She's given up. She's now the other side of the sofa. Well done, Dolly. I've worn her down.
She's fed up with you going on about Fulham.
That's pretty much it. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think there's clearly issues there, and Harrison Reid not being included on the bench today, the fact that our bench in general was filled with bang average defenders outside of Mitrovic and a couple of other people. I'm a bit worried about the squad as a whole at the minute. I think that's where subs like this leave me.
Yeah, I mean, this is so true from Elizabeth Barnard. Watched it with a West Ham fan, and he asked, how do you watch this every week? And I'm starting to feel the same. Excited for the Championship because it'll be easier to get to away games. I fully agree with that first sentiment. I'm starting to wonder what I'm doing with my time watching this team, Colm. It's so insipid. And I just feel like it's a Saturday evening, the pubs are open, it's quite a nice night, and I've sat here at home watching that. I mean, it's just so boring. I can't, like, football's supposed to excite you, get you off your seat. Yes, okay, sometimes you appreciate that your football team's going to be shite, but bloody hell. Like, the negativity, even in the last substitution, bring on Mitro and you take off Madja, take off Anderson, just stick 3 players up front. What have you got to lose now? We're relegated. Try and get a goal. Try and do something, Parker. That's what's killing it for me. It's just so lifeless.
I had a conversation with my wife last week, and she said to me, she hopes Fulham get relegated so our weekends aren't as depressing next year as they are this year. And I couldn't really argue the point with it, to be honest with you.
Very true.
But yeah, like, you're right. It's so tough to watch. And, you know, when they go behind, you just know that's it. You know, I think there was a stat showing up on the screen today. I think when they went behind in 15 games this season, and they've got 1 draw out of that, and that's it. They've got 1 point from going. So that's kind of, you know, and that is the feeling that you get when they score a goal. You just go, oh no, here we go, because it just feels like there's no way that we're going to score a goal. There's no one to score a goal, and the man, and I'm kind of a big Mitrovic fan, and the man that maybe is going to score us goals, and maybe it's the style of play that we're playing that doesn't suit him. But I think the man who was the best chance to do it is sitting on the bench until the 80th minute when we need goals. You know, like, as an Ireland fan, I watched him come on against Ireland for Serbia there, whatever it was, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he absolutely broke our hearts. 1-1 at the time, comes on the 60-minute, changes the game completely. You know, scores 2 absolutely brilliant goals, shows exactly what he can do. He comes back, he scores the goal against Villa. He didn't have too many opportunities created for him against Villa, but the one that, you know, there was the mistake, he pounced on it and he took the opportunity. And then he just has been left out again since. And like you said, Lydia, it seems like there's something going on in the background there. And I don't know, we'll need him for next year, if you ask me. Like, if we're in the Championship next year, he is the man to get you goals in the Championship, as he has proved time and time again. But I'm not sure he'll be there next year now, considering what has been happening this season and how it's gone on. It's just so tough to watch, you know.
I mean, this from Jacob, I mean, come get a job on Fulhamish, because I think, like, this is probably summed it up. Mid-table talent, Championship level manager, simple as that. And that's not necessarily a slight on Parker. Like, no one's a Premier League manager after 2 years. I think it pretty much sums it up. Yes, Lydia, we've got players that probably will be fine in Premier League teams. You look at a player like Mario Lemina, linked with West Ham this week, and probably will be a good Premier League player. Several other players are also Premier League level, players like Anguissa. But the way it was assembled late, the way that we've had to cobble this squad together, and the fact that Parker's just inexperienced this level, ultimately means that Fulham aren't good enough, coupled with our horrendous start. I think if it wasn't for the horrendous start, we might be in the fight a bit more, but I think we still go down.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to kind of take away from that. I think, first of all, we can't point the blame at one person and one person only. Tony Khan has had a heck of a lot of criticism, and I think he deserves a good amount of it. Parker's had quite a bit of criticism. I think he deserves a bit of that. The players haven't come under that much criticism, and maybe individuals have, but I think they have to take some of it as well. I think the problem here has been a combination of all 3 things. That we have an inexperienced manager who I was happy to back, and I'm still happy to back to an extent. I still think there's a couple of question marks there at the minute. Tony Khan, I am very frustrated with. I think that he assembled a squad eventually, but that the fact it took him to the end of the transfer window, I do think it's a very fair issue to have, considering we lost 4 games. I think I'm right in thinking that Newcastle got about 7, maybe 8 points in those games.
I know they won the first game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And someone said to me, I can't remember who it was, in about October or something time, And we were looking okay, or not October, it would have been later than that, maybe December time, and we were looking reasonably good. We had put in lots of good performances, and someone said to me, I bet you it'll be the start that puts us down this season. Now, it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as that. But if you look at the points that the likes of Newcastle gathered in those first 4 games, when we were very much a championship side, I think there is something fair to say in that. And the other side of it then is that Parker, yes, he's inexperienced, but he did something incredible with us last year to get us up. But we definitely still didn't see the best of that squad last year. I think, I'll be honest, I still think we're very fortunate to even be in the Premier League this year. And fair play to him for getting us there. But I don't necessarily think that was down to the brilliance of Parker. I think it was down to him putting a bit of fire in the bellies of the players and doing a few things right. But I still think we actually underachieved last year. That might sound ridiculous considering we got promoted. But in terms of the teams who are in and around us, I do think that we didn't show what we could have last year. And then we started so badly this year that we were always on the back foot. And that's a completely different attitude you need to come back from that than if we had maybe even gathered like 4 points from those first 4 games. Straight away, we don't feel as horrendous about it. But we were put down as relegation candidates from game 1. And that has been a massive weight on this squad all season.
Yeah, spot on, Lydia. I completely agree. I like this from GB London. Says, Parker said in the interview, we need 4 wins. The interviewer said, Fulham have never won 4 games in a row in the Premier League. I mean, Colin, surely now is the time for Scott to stop with the cliches. Like, almost accept the situation a little bit. We're 9 points from safety. There's 4 games remaining. We still have to go to Old Trafford, who have barely lost in the last 6 months and just shipped 6 past Roma in midweek. I think it's now a bit time to accept fate. Yes, don't try and lose against Burnley. Don't start the kids, but let's finish with all of the we're in this fight, we're in this together, we're in this till the end. I'm a little bit bored of it, to be frank. I'd almost rather say we know, almost a bit like what Wilder and Heckingbottom had to do at Sheffield United a little while ago. We know we're probably down. We're just going to give it a good go to the end of the season. I think I'd rather hear that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's inevitable now. In fairness, it's going to happen, and we're going to get relegated. I don't think there's any real chance. There's always hope, that something might happen, and you'll always obviously we all want them to stay. We all want them to win the last 4 games, but realistically, it's probably not going to happen. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Parker needs to, and even if you're on kind of Instagram and Twitter, when you're following the players and they come out with their speeches after matches on Instagram, to say we're still in this, we still believe, we still fight. Look, that was all well and good when there was 10, 12, 15 games left, but now the writing is on the wall. I think everyone needs to face up to it. Obviously, like you said, we don't want to go out and play the kids and lose every game. Go out and try win as many games as we can, obviously, but admit that it's an uphill battle. It's a big task to do it. And look, as well, someone made the point earlier today as well. In the starting 11 today, 6 of them were on loan. And more than likely, they're going to be looking for new clubs next season. So they're going to be not taking it easy, but they're trying to stay injury free. They're not going to be putting their bodies on the line. The one example, actually, I know you mentioned it earlier, Sammy, the Cavallero incident when he kind of pulled out of the tackle. I know he's not alone, but that was just, it really wasn't putting your body on the line, and that's what you want. And especially when you have, look, Burnley and Newcastle are the 2 teams closest to us at the moment, and we still have to play both of them. Yeah, Man United are there as well, but you want lads going out, putting their body on the line and going hell for leather for those 2 games and just giving it everything they've got. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. At least they gave 100% and they tried. Whereas in some of those, especially those 3 games I mentioned earlier, Leeds, Villa, and Wolves, I really don't think they did. They weren't putting their body on the line. It wasn't 100. Tonight, I don't think they were either. We nearly got away with one against Arsenal. Let's be totally honest. We didn't deserve to win that game, and we nearly got away with it. But there's nothing, nobody really throwing their body on the line for the cause to try and keep us up. And look, when it's like that, you can pass the ball around and you can get the pat in the back and say, "Oh, but you play lovely football," all you want. But if you're not doing anything with the football in the final third, and there's no determination in it, you may as well just be, playing against a brick wall, really.
I mean, Lydia, one interesting thing that will come up in the next few weeks, especially if relegation gets mathematically confirmed, is do you start playing players that you have more confidence will be here next season? Do you maybe, and I do agree with this comment, it says bright side, possible back line of Tosin, Kangolo, Robertson, Tete, and then you've also got Onuma, Harrison Reed, Decadova Reed, Carvalho, and then the under-21s and under-23s coming through. I think he's got a real point. I think Fulham will have a really strong championship side next year. Do you think in the next few games, especially if it gets confirmed, that we need to start thinking, right, who wants to be in our championship defence next season? And if you're not going to be here, then bye.
So I don't think we should be making wholesale changes until it's confirmed, because I think there's something that doesn't look great about that. But that doesn't mean to say that we shouldn't sort of change things up a little bit. I do think that we have to approach games as let's go and try and win instead of let's try not to lose. I think that's been the problem for too many times this season. I think the fact that we should accept that we're going down, bar an absolute miracle, we're going down, and that should allow the players who are there, to release the shackles a little bit. And what we can do then is sort of mix it up a little bit. I probably wouldn't play Anguissa. I probably wouldn't play, Loftus-Cheek, for example. These two guys who, for very different reasons, won't be here next season. Well, probably not. So I'd probably would give Harrison Reed and Josh Onuma more time. I like the idea of keeping Robinson in the team, because I actually think that while he hasn't been fantastic this season, I do think he can be a real asset next year. The same with Tosin. What I would say is that we do need to be careful about not also completely shell-shocking some of our younger boys and bring them in the Premier League and have them absolutely hammered the last couple of games and experience a relegation very early in their career when they didn't really need to. I think that would be important for me. I think make some changes. Don't completely lose all the loans, because I do think there might be some sort of glimmer of hope that we might be able to keep one or two. Let's see. But for me, it would be the tactics. Lose the conservative tactics and just go for it. And at least give people a little bit of joy in the last 4 games, I think would be my target. Yeah,
I saw that Thomas Tuchel actually paid us a bit of a compliment in the interview afterwards, said that far worse teams have stayed up. I guess football isn't about playing nicely sometimes, though, and that is quite a nice thing for him to say, like far worse teams have stayed up. And I thought today that Fulham at times very much looked like we had the measure of the game, but sadly playing football and winning football games is also having about a bit of bite and attack in the final third. And there's quite a lot of comments saying that, Burnley, Newcastle, Southampton aren't great teams, but they just have managers that can win them games. And sadly, that is the difference for Fulham next season. And I guess, look, we just have to go ahead, look forward to next season. Even I've thrown in the towel. And yes, hello to all the Brighton fans in our Twitter mentions. We see you. We don't give a shit is basically our words to you. So, well, thank you for watching Full-Time Live today. Not the cheeriest one we will ever do. The towel well and truly thrown in, I think, by all 3 of us. But we'll go again. Another 10-day break. It seems like Fulham games come around once a month these days for Burnley. Yeah, which actually is a blessing in fucking disguise. It gives you at least some time to build up the courage before the next one. But yeah, loved having the Irish connection on the show today. North and south of the border.
Yeah, we're friends, you see. We're friends. Friends across the barricades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You share a rugby team.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Up the Fulham.